Hello there, Mad Mike here, and welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be talking about the new trailer for the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Now, the reason why mainly I'm bringing this up is because this is the debut of the new Sonic redesign after the very negative reaction of the first trailer, which came out, I believe, 4 months ago. I did do a breakdown of that trailer. Now, here's the thing. The redesign looks amazing. It looks like really what it probably should have been to begin with. Credit to the director of this film, credit to the people who did the visual effects, that they took the time to go back and redesign the character and make him look far more similar to what he looks like in the video games. You still do have some of those little texture things going on, like the fur and stuff like that, but again, he really actually does look like Sonic instead of a weird anthropomorphic blue fuzzball. So that is a huge plus to this, and I think that they gained a lot of fan support by doing that. I think that ultimately that's going to help this film when it comes out. It is coming out February 14th of next year, but let's just kind of dive into this new trailer. And again, there's nothing really. There's a few things that are kind of interesting. So apparently, we have confirmation that Sonic doesn't exist in our universe, or he didn't originate from it. Apparently, he passes through these little portals, and he came into our universe through one of the ring portals. And apparently, he did this because a lot of people in his world were trying to take his speed powers. And they have they have like basically kind of like a funny little montage where they show Sonic like doing all these things. You know, he's reading the Flash comic book, which again is kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing. And then he just reads through all of them. He's playing tennis with himself. He plays baseball with himself. It seems like he's really just kind of like goofing around for the majority of the first part of the trailer until he gets found out by the military and Professor Robotnik, who's played by Jim Carrey. Now we go into the next part of this where Sonic meets James Marsden's character, who is a sheriff in this little Montana town where Sonic has kind of made his burrows and stuff like that, where he's living out in the woods. And Sonic convinces him to help James Marsden to help him basically escape the military so that he's not captured and dissected and whatever by Jim Carrey. And this trailer actually has some funny moments in it. It's not the humor does not necessarily fall flat. There's actually kind of a very goofy moment where Jim Carrey is interrogating James Marsden. He has this little like drone thing that I'm assuming fires like a laser or something like that. And he basically says, "You have 5 seconds to tell me where he is." And then Sonic just appears, comes out, and says, "Don't hurt him." And Jim Carrey immediately freaks out and starts screaming because he has no idea what this thing looks like, or at least I presume so. So it is kind of funny, and you get to see Jim Carrey kind of get back into his very cartoony type of, overly physical acting. Again, he's always been very good at that. You can look back at stuff like The Mask and Ace Ventura. He's always been really good at that. Even though he's still very good with his dialogue and his delivery. The physical acting with Jim Carrey has always been front and center, and that's really why a lot of people like him for these over the top comedy roles, because just the way that he can manipulate his body and his face, and the way that he kind of is able to do certain things on screen is hilarious if given the right material. And I think the over-the-top nature of Dr. Robotnik, at least in this movie, it helps him ultimately. It helps him, or he helps the character basically. I think it's a good choice for him to be cast as that. Now he was critical of the Sonic redesign, saying something about artistic integrity. I did a video on that, and you're arguing artistic integrity over a blue hedgehog. I mean, it's ridiculous. But moving on from that, we go through the trailer. There's again, most of it is just jokes, although you kind of get a little bit of like what the story is. Basically, the whole story is basically they're just on the run from Dr. Robotnik the whole time after these two meet and stuff like that. So you have the setup, and then you have it seems like it's going to be a chase movie, which again makes sense for a Sonic the Hedgehog. They have, again, the comedy does not fall flat, I don't think, at least not entirely. And again, this is aimed at a bit of a younger audience, so a lot of the comedy is very physical in nature. And like I said before, that's beneficial to have Jim Carrey in there because of the way he's able to conduct himself. And ultimately, I think that this trailer made this movie look a lot better, not just from an aesthetic point of view, but also from a content point of view. Because again, I think that the humor in this trailer was better. I don't think they showed necessarily too much. They did give away some of the stuff with the plot, but again, the nuances are really what it is. A lot of it was just jokes and stuff like that. But you can't ignore the fact that the redesign was done. It was done correctly, and all the credit to the people, the director and all the people that did that again. That they were willing to take the time to do that because it took months. It took months. It's been months since the original trailer came out, and I believe it was June. And now we're seeing the results of that, and they've actually done a very good job. And I believe there was also a story that came out that is the original design that the visual effects artist wanted to go with, but for whatever reason they were overridden, and they went with the other design. But thankfully they were smart enough to realize that in order to save this film, and in order to do right by the fans of the character, they had to change that, and they had to make him more accurate to the source material, which is good in this case. I think that it's very good. I think that he's easily recognizable in this as Sonic. It's not you don't have to kind of squint your eyes and tilt your head to kind of get the right look. And like I said, again, they don't give away too much. There is like a little bit of a final confrontation that you see with like all of the Robotnik drones, but aside from that, you really don't see the final conflict. Most of it, most of the middle section of it is the chase, and him talking to James Marsden, and then Jim Carrey has a couple little funny jokes in there. But again, I don't think it's a bad trailer. I think it's a decent trailer. I think it's a good second trailer, and I think it showcased what it needed to showcase to sell people this movie, which is exactly what needed to happen. Um, and again, I think that it's going to get a lot of goodwill from this, and I think that ultimately this is going to boost this film's box office numbers. And I might do a will it fail video for this, maybe around New Year's or something like that, when we have solid budget numbers and stuff like that, and some other things. But you know, ultimately, I think it was a good trailer. I think this movie is on the right track to making a profit and making the fans happy. And I want to know what you think. As usual, I will link the trailer in the description below. But what do you think? Do you like the redesign? Do you not like the redesign? Are you a fan of Sonic or not? Do you think that they even should be making a movie about it? Again, put your thoughts in the comments. I like to know what you're thinking. Hit the bell for notifications. Hit the like button. Subscribe. And remember, I live my life free of compromise. Do you?